Coming up tonight on You Canny Scotland News.
Welcome to You Canny Scotland News, the big lie news. Now working in conjunction with one another. We've got a special guest, a wee bit rough today. My hair's a mess, look at it from Nick. There's a wee light showing that, just to try and capture these all, because we're coming to get these. We're using Nationals. We're using that. So we've got a new union correspondent who's going to be working in conjunction with him. Saying he's going to be working in conjunction with us. He's been doing it since the run up to 2014, but you didn't know that. And it's, oh damn, Scotland's voting. The big line news. He'll be joining us later on, and in the run up to the elections. So don't miss it. I'm a wee bit off to a rough night last night, shall we say. Me and me, Doug. Aye. The union minion from Maury at the back there. Aye. So, as I got to say, aye, You Canny Scotland News, most of the recordings were done, but I had to do this one because Odam's joining us, Odam, Scotland's Bolton. It'll be ways later on. Aye, so that's it. So we're going now because we need to get ourselves cleared up and that. We're rolling sausage before the game starts. Aye, we're going to watch the game. Aye. I just hope it's a good match and that, and hope the fans stay away. Yeah, we hope the fans stay away and enjoy it at home. That's our message to all the fans. Isn't that right, wee Doug? He's not seen anything. He's absolutely fucked. We've not heard much. Here's Megan. He's having a bit of a breakdown. He should have been at his work all week, but he's just no bother to come in. But that's just something else. Furious travelling gypsy fist thing is training. He's in training at the minute. He's got a big fight coming up, and he'll be with us probably next week. I think he's due back in. There's no real sport happening in Scotland anyway because of this lockdown. So that's it for You Canny Scotland News. I'm Baroness Harry Minion. Just call me Harry, you know what I mean? I hate that Baroness stuff. I'm going to actually stop wearing this stupid thing. Man. It's it's a wee bit annoying to be honest. Actually dead exceeding a bit. Right, anyway, so that's it for You Canny Scotland News for the night, and have a nice, lovely evening. If you're a unionist, and if you're not, well, just go, right? Because I said so. But that's You Canny Scotland News, and I'm Baroness Harry Minion.
Hi, Odam, Scotland's Bolton. The line news. Working in conjunction with You Canny Scotland News, openly now to prevent an independent Scotland. I'll be working with and closely with Union Minion for Maury, Doug, and Baroness Harry. Aye, Harry Minion. Aye, you know her. Aye. So I'll be working closely with him. I'm up here on a wee punt, really. Some side work for Canada on the radio and that, kind of wee plug in there for Flame. Because we got a wee sideline that. And the big lie don't know anything about it, so really don't know when to help them. Just tourism and that, So I'm going to be working with the Baroness and just telling you how rubbish these are. And try to disrupt these and basically telling you don't exist. Unicorns. That's what it's all about here. Aye. So we'll be having a wee show later on, and it's just basically giving you some hope. Aye. Jesus getting in, aye. So I had it hosting this here. He's an art, but look at me there. Aye. He's talking to one artist. I really don't know their name at a minute. Go down here somewhere. He's talking to it says here, Kimbo in the springtime, Celtic witch suspected at Tweetstreet, Scotland occupied. Don't know what the fuck that is. Anyway, that's what's coming up later on. Aye, so I'll need to shoot them up because I'm going to try and get a wee deal with the boat company while I'm up here. Aye. Aye. Again, wee sideline, no telling me work about it and that. Just, you know, they don't see any Scottish stuff in there. No, so there's a wee bit extra cash in my pocket and that. This Brexit, I fucked up I didn't. I fucked up the TVs are dying for it. We don't care. That's how it goes. They're taking your water, your oil, your wind, everything. The lights probably. Aye, that's how it goes. Internal market bill. Check it out. You're fucked. How's it going? Aye, aye. Anyway, oh damn, Scotland's bolting. Is it fucked? That's where it's going. The Uganda Scotland news and the Big Line news in conjunction with each other, like the Tories and Labour against Scotland in 2014 and way back before that, I know, but openly, you know what I mean? So enjoy your day. Well, a game on or something like that. Although you're Scots watching that. I know I'm pure Scottish as fuck that, but I just kid on, I'm not. I've got a different voice than them. I'm just at home here. Right, but anyway, I need to shoot. Me and Doug are going to watch this game. He's a fan. I don't know what teams are playing. I don't even know. Don't even know what teams are playing, mate. No. He's watching one of them. But a blue one. He's watching a blue one. What don't ask him. It's really, he still fucked it last night. What don't ask him. What time is it? You know that you're falling in this game. Oh. Oh, no. I'm not that funny. Oh, it's fucked. It's absolutely fucked. What team is it? What team is it you're falling in this game? Aye. Can't make him either. That was a heavy one last night. But anyway, that's it for Canny Scotland news and Big Line news. We'll catch up with you later.
Yeah, we're winging it.
Welcome along to the show, guys. This is Odd Arms Scotland's Bolton at Tweetstreet, Scotland occupied. We're just trying to. Oh, I better get the fuck for here. Sorry that, guys. Sorry about that. Hiya, welcome along to Tweetstreet, Scotland occupied. I'm standing in Bridges, aka Peter. My co-host with us this evening is Debbie Whitesnake. Hi John, how you doing?
Nice to see you all, folks. Hello there.
Thanks very much.
Hi John. Hi John.
Hi.
Our guests this evening are Christine and Karen. Hi Christine, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How's yourself?
Absolutely excellent, absolutely excellent. Thanks very much for joining us. And Karen, how are you doing this evening?
I'm bro, thank you. How are you?
I'm absolutely excellent. I love your background. I love what you've got in the background there. It kind of makes the show more appealing to people. Thanks very much. Right, so Christine, I'm going to come over to you first of all. We've titled the show, as you can see, I'm going to do a wee screen share here. We've titled the show as Kimbo in the Springtime, Celtic witch suspected at Tweetstreet, Scotland occupied. Right, so it's just that based off your Twitter names. So, Christine, tell us a wee bit about you and what you are.
I'm in Clydebank. I'm in Clydebank. I was going to tell you I was 52. I'm actually not sure what age, to be honest with you. I'm either 51 or 52.
Age doesn't matter, Christine. Just a wee bit about you. What brings you to independence? What's your story to being an independence supporter?
I got into independence. I was going to the market weekly with a friend who was going on about the SNP, going on about leafleting, canvassing. And every week I just listened. And then one week he says to me, Scottish independence. Well, my heart went a flutter on the M8, I'll tell you. And that really, he'd said the SNP, he'd said canvassing, but he'd never said the word Scottish independence before.
Right.
And as soon as he said the word Scottish independence, it just changed my interest in what he was saying. It just changed I just knew right there and then that it was going to be something that I needed to be involved in, because it's something that I want for my country.
Brilliant.
And that's I ended up
Absolutely
here.
brilliant. See that kind of that feeling that you get when you hear other people kind of sharing their, well, no, it was this moment, or it was that moment, or it was this moment. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Thanks for sharing it with us, Christine. Aaron, it's just the same question to you. What's your story to independence? How did you become an independence supporter, activist, or whatever you classify it?
I think it was childhood. I have a vague recollection of my sister going to get married when I was about 7, and she was marrying an Englishman, and she was a minister. She was a minister, and I thought he was Welsh, and that. You can imagine where this is going. As a child, because and I'm one of these people who has no sense of diplomacy whatsoever. As soon as I open my gob, straight out, diplomacy's out the window and along the street. But that particular week, there'd been a lot on TV about politics and stuff, and I had actually piped up to my dad, and I had actually said, Daddy, can you tell me why England is the boss of us? And that started something in me. That really started something in me. A deep, bitter resentment that we should be ruled by another country when it was our country in the first place.
Yes.
And for me, Westminster is an all-out assault on our liberty, and that is the way that I look at it, and that's the way that I've always focused it since I was a child. I just can't for the life of me see why anyone in our country, our beautiful country, would want to have our resources, our money, our identity taken from us by the country next door. I just can't fathom why people would want that for their own country. And I think it was when my dad took me to the side and told me about the Highland clearances at an early age. And when he actually went into sort of detail, well, he was speaking to a child, but went into detail about the massacre at Glencoe. Right. And I was a kid who was trundled around the Highlands, from toddler size. My dad had an old beat up van, and all the kids went into the back of it, cousins a lot, and we went everywhere with them, and we were all over the place. We used to have holidays in RSA and and all over the ship, and I was used to being taken around Scotland, and I was very proud of it growing up, as is my kids.
Right. And
I just had this phenomenal and fierce sense of being Scottish from that age, and this deep set resentment, that all these things, past or not, could have actually happened to my country. Right. And I just kept thinking, why can't we take it back? Why can't we take control and run our own affairs? I mean, there's no one in Scotland stupid. We're the smartest people in the world. I'm biased, I'm Scottish, of course, but this is the country that gave people John Logie Baird, Alexander Fleming, all
Christine
these.
Yes, Christine.
Burns said was like us.
Aye.
Who is like us? There's no one like us, and there's nowhere like Scotland. And as I said, I'm fiercely Scottish, and I just can't sit down and just let someone continue to take my country away from me piece by piece and break down the identity that is ours, that special identity, that special place in our hearts that is Scottish, because we are different from everyone else. Yeah. I mean, fundamentally, we're all human beings, but being Scottish as a brand,
Aye.
it's like Scotch whisky, Harris Tweed, all these things, being Scottish as a brand, and whether that's for, you know, visitors from other countries. I mean, I'm often in the Highlands and I see people from Scandinavia, Japan, China, America, all over the world, and they all come for Scotland, the brand. And that is the one thing that's being stripped from us right now, and it's been jacked. I was really struck recently by someone, I think they had tweeted or Facebooked or something on social media, where, or I think it was a news article where visitors going to the Wallace Monument were getting, you know, sort of little booklets, and on that booklet were Union Jacks.
Aye, aye.
Wait a minute, you know.
If it's got a jack, put it back, guys. If it's got a jack, put it back. Everybody remember
Yeah.
that. If it's got a jack, put it back.
My philosophy is, if it bears the Union Jack, this good Scot puts it back, and I do. I always look for Scottish brands, and it's not out of any nastiness or any bile or anything like that. I like to support Scottish farmers, Scottish, you know,
It's
brands.
also insulting. I mean, I'm insulted by that. I mean, you know, I see a British flag on Scottish produce, and I feel offended by that. I think that's just insulting.
Yeah.
You know, that's like me baking a cake and you telling somebody else that it's yours.
Aye.
I'm going to be offended by that. You know, it's.
How many times have we gone into supermarkets lately, and it'll say British carrots, and it's got a Union Jack across it, and it says at the bottom, product of Spain.
Spain.
Mhm.
Yes. And see, that's the good thing that I find. Certainly, I find it's a good thing. That was a good thing for that, because people on a whim, certainly Scottish people, identify these things and they share it, and it's like it's more an eye opener. It's becoming more common. But the other thing that I'm noticing, and I don't know if any of you guys are the same, and John, I'll come to you in a wee minute, buddy. I don't know if any of you guys are the same. Where I'm noticing a rise in the Scotland. I'm noticing more salt fires in places that I hadn't seen them before. And I'm noticing a pride of gallousness returning to people in Scotland. Like, we're ready for
Listen,
this.
I love it.
Aye. I mean,
I love it.
I'm fine. I'm noticing that, and I'm noticing people are kind of right. Okay, like everything, there's a whole load of shit happening everywhere, right? And we're trying our best to kind of deal with our own shit without having without the outside stuff interfering with us. But we're not getting an option of that now. John, have you got any questions you would like to ask the guests about what I've said, or
Yeah,
even if they're
Well,
yourself?
actually, just what the ladies are actually saying there, it's easy, and I like to think, or push it to further belong. You're talking about supermarkets and putting British branding on Scottish products and all products. That isn't an accident. That's a very cynical, manipulative thing to do.
Yes,
And it makes me ask the question, why is a supermarket doing that? What have the supermarket got to do with politics? But it just shows you how much the British infrastructure is basically extending the British culture into Scottish, Welsh and Irish citizenship, basically, if you like. So we're constantly being bombarded by this Union Jack, and I've made it my business to find out a lot of history about what's happened in the past, that 99.9% of people that support the union have not got a clue about. The Irish history, it's how they treated slaves. Oh, we seem to lose somebody there.
No, it's just me, guys.
Sorry, I'll carry on. It's just how we treated slaves, how we treated other people, and how much the union and colonialism is still despised around the world. And a lot of British people are ignorant to that fact, and they're just trying to push us down this road that we voted against, and it's just meant to be accepted. And I, for one, like yourselves, don't accept it and won't accept it.
Do you not feel it's this push to be Northern English, to be more English and less Scots? I know when I was growing up, quite often you were told to speak the Queen's English. You had to have an accent. You had to say yes, you had to say aye. You couldn't say no, you say no, and you had to be completely and utterly polite when you were at school. I mean, that was like a hanging offence, just to let your accents. That you had to speak like Julie Andrews, or you get a clip around the ear. And I feel that nowadays there are sections of society who are saying, well, this is the way I speak and this is me. But we still have that old colonialism where Queen and country, and you should be more English. And I think really by stamping this Union Jack on everything that's coming into Scotland is like saying, we don't want Scotland. We don't want you to be Scottish. We want you just to get in your box and do what we tell you and be more like us.
Yeah, well, that reminds me of...
To lose our identity.
Yeah, and that's what reminds me of what I spoke to Peter about as well. I remember watching a documentary about football, about Scotland at the World Cup, and of all people, Archie Ferguson was speaking about why Scottish football is so important to a lot of people in Scotland, about the Scotland team and that, and he basically said Scotland is a stateless nation, and I was a wee laddie when I heard that, 14, 15-year-old, and I thought, what's a stateless nation? And it's basically we don't have a country of our own, so we put all our effort and time into something as daft as football, hoping to find some sort of glory out of that and only get failure. But it just shows you how much our ethnic type has been eroded and basically now been steamrolled by British and Brexit. It's basically it's nothing to them, and really anyway, because we don't accept it, and it's quite frightening what they're prepared to do to basically steamroll it. Only what they're doing to gypsies now as well. They're basically saying to gypsies to now get crime. I mean, that's horrific. Well, if that's no fascism, I don't know what is. As George Orwell said,
free to travel. If that's how you live your life,
as George Orwell said, when fascism comes to Britain, it won't be called fascism. It'll be wrapped in a Union Jack and called something else, and that's exactly what we've got.
That's what's happening.
Hi guys, and I hope you know that's why I've put the beloved saltire up on the screen for people to see. It's to equalise out all the chat about talking about the Jack guys, right? So just so that you know, I'm going to stop this screen share now. Just somehow, and just it's back to us again, guys. Right, so you'll see this as we go through and talking about certain topics. I've selected things in the hope that if they come up, I've got a poster ready for it, right? But it's the same things. When we've talked about Scottish independence, everybody seems to come back to the same answer, right? Well, we're ready to be independent. We're no any different for yous. You treat us differently. You try and tell us we don't exist. We are the unicorn. Scottish people are the unicorn. And it's time that we broke free of the chains, and independence is the only way that we're going to do that. John, I would like you to kind of ask if there was some posters that you'd shared earlier on the day. Was there anything in particular that drove you to sharing those posters? And if you've got any prepared, John, you can share the screen. I'll allow you to share the screen as well, mate. All right.
I'll try and show you. Hang on, what have I got here?
Christine's taking his own a wee tour here. Who's so she is? Christine's going to get a wee bite of tea or something, a wee cup of tea.
My coffee.
Hang on.
See, this is the thing about Tweetstreet. It's just people just try to come together and try to do a wee thing for our country. And it's as amateur as they come, and you'll see that in the final cut of this production. It's amateur as sorry for swearing. It's as amateur as anything, right? But
I think we're all amateur here, so I think we're safe.
That's it, and for me, it's I want people to try and interact with the show as well, and try and do their own wee take, their own wee skits that they as a way kind of dealing with whatever's happening. You know, it helps me to kind of process all the shit that we're going through. All right, well, I'll take the piss out of that, just to kind of dilute it a wee bit. So I would like people
sometimes in order to, you need to maintain a sense of humour. Don't you? Yeah. I mean, really, if you don't maintain a sense of humour, your mental health would knock you over the edge, especially on Twitter, I find.
Aye.
You know,
quite toxic.
Absolutely. So if you don't, when I first came onto Twitter, I thought this is going to, click my mental health over the edge. It's going to really drive me insane.
Aye, well,
I did for a short while, but once you learn to laugh it off and not take anything so personal,
aye,
it's not an easy place to be, Twitter.
No, it can get. I totally agree. It can get toxic, and this was part of the reason JP and I got together and says, "Well, why don't we try and do this?" And it's to put a face to people. Like, hold on, we're genuine people. We might have differences with certain ones, The differences that we've got are kind of Okay, they can be ironed, but most of them they can be. They're creases. They're nothing more than a wee fucking.
Well, but
Maybe, sorry, I'll let you go on with that. I know, because we're pushed for time. So, what was your thoughts behind that poster, if you don't mind, mate?
Yeah, the one that was just showing you there again was about like Ken Clark, who's your old-fashioned Tory, and he's basically saying the Conservative Party is now just an English nationalist party. So we've got an English nationalist party running the British government, which is basically just intent and steamrolling everything over, and everything from, I don't know, a lot of people have got different issues with Nicola Sturgeon and Alex Salmond and all that carry on, but I feel they just want to exploit that to the max and destroy chance of Scottish independence by destroying Nicola Sturgeon. And if it was Alex Salmond sitting there, they would be destroying him as well, as they already have tried to do. So, and there's nothing better than they want the Scottish people fighting each other, whether it's Salmond or Sturgeon, whoever. That should not be allowed to. We should not be so stupid to fall into that step.
John, can I ask you a question?
Please.
Can I ask you a question, John? I've been looking on Twitter quite a bit lately, and today especially, I've noticed a few tweets with people saying, I'm blocking people with the SNP, in their bios. I'm blocking people with cherries, and I'm blocking people with wings.
Yes.
And I remember when I first came to Twitter, I mean, you did get you get people falling out for all sorts of reasons, but I've never seen so many people get into it as they have done lately. And there seems to be three fractions, if you like.
That's right.
And it wasn't like that when I first came to Twitter. I haven't been on Twitter long term, but when I first came to Twitter, everyone was the same game set. And now everybody seems to be divided and each other's throats, and Westminster's winning without doing anything. It's so frustrating. And
they are. I think they are, though, Karen. I think they're trying to see a lot of it.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm looking at the two big names at the minute who are getting the focus of all the hate. And there's one lot loves one and one lot loves the other, and then the other lot hates, and I've just got to the stage, I think that, oh my God, will I ever see Indy in my lifetime? And there are people getting fed up with it. We are so sick to the back teeth of it that I'm getting now, when they're getting into it, I just ignore it. I just walk away from it, step out and go and talk to someone else, because it's pulling me down, and it's pulling a lot of people down. I mean, the ordinary people like myself who went to the marches, and I have to say it straight from being in intensive care maybe a few weeks before because I've got a heart condition, but I would go to the marches just like the ordinary folks, on Twitter or whatever, who were voting for Indy in the past or in the future, and ordinary Indy supporters. That's all I am. I'm just a mum who goes onto Twitter and supports Scottish independence.
Aye.
But from what I can see, and I'm looking at this big picture from when I was young coming up, the big voice of independence was Alex Salmond. He was Mr. Independence, and he's the only one I knew, right? When he stepped down after the last referendum and Nicola took over, there was a huge surge in the SNP. Nobody can deny that. There was a huge surge in the SNP, and they became the third biggest party in the UK. Scotland's biggest party. They just got huge. And all of a sudden, Nicola Sturgeon was Queen of the North. And I remember I was a big fan. I had a picture of Nicola sitting in the Game of Thrones seat, and the sceptre and everything. And I thought she was doing a grand job. And I'm sure other people did. Then everything seemed to be going good, and we had this huge surge in Indy last year. People wanting independence last year. Huge surge in support for the SNP. And then all this scandal hit, and boom. That was it. It was like, I don't know, it was as if lately that Alex Salmond had just chucked in a grenade into the independence, support bubble, and boom, and then went away and hit the bunker. That's what it felt like, Like he just dropped the ball. I would still like to know what I would still like Alex Salmond to come on and actually say something himself. He'd say, look, I don't want to divide independent support, whatever issues because of it. That's what I was going to get around.
The dream will never die, as he said himself. So I'm sure he doesn't want to destroy the dream. I can't believe he would want that.
Yeah, this is what I was just going to get around to, because all this has been going on, and for this man to be so fiercely a supporter of independence and freedom for Scotland, to just drop this bombshell and then say nothing else about it, just go away. It just seems really strange and out of character from what we've seen in the past from Alex Salmond. And so the war goes on. And I think it would see Roberts.
Sorry, well, I'm aware of the time. So what was the question? Or what I asked John, so we can pass on.
I was going to say, did he think that perhaps now that all this is going on, just to let those two big names in the middle of this just get on with it? And, you know, the thing is, they've got big lawyers. They can, I mean, they've got people to fight their corners. The independence movement shouldn't be fighting each other because of them. We should let them sort it out. They've got ways, methods of doing it through legal channels or otherwise. And we should all just be getting on with it. The fact that we should all just stand together and fight for independence and just let them go on with it. Because if we don't, politics. I mean, someone once said to me, if you're not careful, politics will consume you. It's not good for your mental health. It's not good for the independence movement to have this war going on. And I would like to see Westminster win. So don't you guys think that maybe it's time just to let them get on with it, have their fight somewhere else, and you know, and we'll just go on with what we're doing. Or they could just come out for one day. See Roberts that had actually suggested this. He's the first person I ever followed on Twitter. He actually said, I think it was yesterday, why doesn't Alex Salmond and Nicola Sturgeon just stand in a press room or whatever, distance, even whatever, and just say, putting this aside, it's not about us. There's a bigger picture. This is about independence. Forget about us. Forget about what's going on here. Just get out there and, you know,
John,
and do it.
What's your thoughts on that, John?
I think that's exactly what I can't see it happening for whatever reason, but that would be the best thing that could happen was them two to just say, you know what, it's not about us. We're calling a truce on it. It's about focusing on independence. And Sam would say, well, Sturgeon's the First Minister, Nick Sturgeon's the First Minister. She's going to take us to a referendum and we're going to win it. And he should just be seen there as somebody who could unite the movement and guide it and move it forward. We don't gain anything by being divided. When you love Sturgeon, right? Nicola Sturgeon, she's the one that's in charge. She's going to lead this election, and she's. I like the both of them, to be honest with you, but it's going to be Nicola Sturgeon, but she's got to deliver a referendum within a year of winning the next general election. And if she doesn't deliver a referendum within a year of winning the Scottish election, then that's a whole different kettle of fish. But I believe she knows she's not a stupid woman. She knows she's got to deliver that.
Steve, what's your thoughts on that, Paul?
Nobody wants to wait a year.
I think Alex Salmond's ego get in the way of that situation. I mean, ideally that would be the ideal thing to do. I think his ego's far too big. I think Alex Salmond thought he was going to be the William Wallace of independence, and I think the fact that he's not, and Nicola Sturgeon could look likely to be getting that, is I do think it's a needle in him, if you like.
A pride thing, I think. Wounded pride, or?
I think it's ego. I just think he's got too much ego.
I mean, it is a common.
I think he's smarter than he is as well, by far. I think she's by far a better leader, a more likeable leader, a smarter leader. She's got more game. She's, you know, everything about her. She's always on the ball. She's always cool. She's always delivering. Everything about her. I think he's.
I think you're trying to say that Alex Salmond, he was a guy I loved him or loathed him, and Nicola Sturgeon can sort of bridge that gap a wee bit. And she's got a higher international profile than Alex Salmond ever had, and that points for a lot as well.
I think right in what you're saying there, John. I think Nicola Sturgeon has embraced the international stage a lot better, and she's made a lot more. She's more highly regarded on the international stage, I think. Yeah. But guys, just to make you aware, our time limit is almost up. So just the final message for each of 60 seconds, please. And Christine, we'll come to you first, pal, if you don't mind. And then we'll come to Karen and then John. So Christine, you first, 60 seconds, final message.
my 60 seconds and my final message is not going to be 60 seconds. It's just simply going to be support your country, vote for your country. If we don't become an independent country, then God help us.
Fucking spot on. You don't need 60 seconds. On you go, pal.
This is our last chance. If we don't get independence now, we're never going to get independence. I think we should all forget who said what, he said, she said, all the rest of it, and all the pronouns, just to get this election by with and just get independence, and then hopefully we can sort the mess out afterwards. And it's not wish for Indy. It's let's get on with this. Let's forget about the fighting. Let's stand by each other. Let's be a united country and go out there and kick ass.
That's it. John, your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, exactly as the lady said there. We have to unite if we're going to get independence, and it's moving forward for Scotland. It's not giving into Westminster and letting them give Scotland to them on a plate by us being divided. We have to be united, get a good result in the Scottish election, and then demand our independence referendum, and then go out and win it. And they can't stop us. We will get independence. It's as simple as that.
Right, well, this is the final message. As I say, we're a push for time. Well, this is the final message from Tweetstreet, from myself. Thank each of you for taking part. Christine, Karen, absolutely great guests. Thanks for your comments, and hopefully in the future, if you don't mind, if you enjoy the show, we can get you back on, get your comments. If you do want to kind of contribute towards the show, please feel free. I will add in your videos, send them to me. You've got the email, send them to us. I'll add them into the show and make it a party, because when I set this up, when I spoke to John, it was a case of we were trying to do something for the fully Scotland. So Twitter is something that a lot of people have, but not everybody in Scotland has.
United differences.
Something else. Right? YouTube's something else. So it's a case of we're trying to get people to contribute and get a voice out for Scotland. So thanks very much for joining us at Tweetstreet. And I'm going to sign off by saying Sora Alba. And thank you, guys.
Good night, guys.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
Karen, can I
I left a white rose in the window as a symbol for the free. And it's still there to remind us of the nation we can be. So will you join me and stand beside me on the journey we must take? And like so many there before us, we'll make the ground beneath us shake. Let's gargle and grow. Let us flourish and let us sow. The seeds of hope to start anew. Scotland's heart beats to the dreams of you. I can see you in the islands, all proudly marching Glasgow green. Friends and lands walk
Holy nonsense away, man. Right. That's not sitting right. I need to get my Caledon Media, Caledon Radio in here. My wee side number while I'm up here. I am Oddam, Scotland's Bolton. To listen to that, there, man, it was rough. It was really rough. It was really rough. I think we're going to get independence. Oddam, Scotland's no Bolton. Right, that's it. That's what's happening. He's not the Bolton anywhere. He's a fucking unicorn. Right, he's here. That's the end of it. No, that's it for me for the night. You can't Scotland news and July news. I'm going to have a belter. Good night.
Welcome to UK Scotland News for a special politics report. Brainer Rennie is going out on the field, not to play football or anything like that, just to let side, just today things and talk to folk. Well, not to talk to folk, he's just doing stuff, right? He's got to be introducing the new feature to Tweetstreet, Occupied Scotland. We got chats with that and that, you know, but this one's a special. It's he's got to be introducing a new political candidate. You wouldn't believe it, you know. It's like they're better off just following the union and getting elected to the House of Lords and things like that. Just get it done for nothing. Aye. By the way, Nick the Fish, you need to get a wee bit of integrity, and you need to sort out that integrity of yours. So come on the Empire, right? You need to sort out that integrity of yours. That's how I'm doing this anyway. But that's you carry Scotland News, and I'm Baroness Harry Alminion. Good night.